Today what we're doing is we're going to catch some squid. So I was just getting my stuff together and I realized I only had this one good colored squid jig left, the gold there with the silver on it. And the only other squid jigs that I had were these orange colored ones, and they really don't work as well because of the way that they sit in the water. So what I did was I went out and bought a bunch of more squid jigs, a whole bunch of colors. They're all a brand of Yozuri. I like Yozuris because of the way that they sit in the water column and the way that I fish them. The colors that I got here are pink, like a dark teal green color, glow in the dark white, an orange, another pink, and a green. And you might be saying that's quite a lot of squid jigs, that's quite a bit of colors. And the reason is because squid can be quite temperamental in the color of jig that they're gonna eat. And trust me, you do not wanna be out there knowing that the squid are biting and not have the color that they're hitting. But the color that we're gonna start off with is going to be this gold and silver color. If it doesn't produce pretty quick, we're gonna swap over to those. A little bit about the gear that I'm using here. This is just a Shimano Sahara 2500. Nothing special, it's the reel that I use in freshwater, but it'll also work for this. The rod that I use is just a simple old ugly stick. It's a 5'10" medium action. The rig that I use for the squid is just simple. It's a 1/2 ounce to a 1 ounce weight on the bottom. Could also up it if it was more current. About 12 to 18 inches of line going up to the squid jig on a dropper loop. And this squid jig will sit horizontal in the water column with the weight on the bottom like that. The nice thing about these Yozuri squid jigs is that they fall real slow like this to the bottom instead of just dropping straight down the water column. So as they fall nice and slow, the squid tend to pick them up and they really like that action. Our high tide is at approximately 9 p.m. and our sunset is at approximately 8:10 p.m. which is going to line up perfectly. We'll get a couple hours, the last few hours of daylight on the incoming tide to hopefully catch some squid through the sunset and then also into the night, which is usually when the squid fishing is at its best. We have arrived. Freedom. Okay guys, we are down at the water here, and just a little bit of an explanation of what's going on. We got a current, it's an incoming tide, it's coming this way, and then what it's doing is it's coming into this basin right here. And the goal, or the hope, is that the squid coming through the current, swirling around into this basin, and then that's where we'll catch them. I decided to start off with the hot pink color, as you can see right there. I think it's going to work good, and like I said, 12 to 18 inches down to this 1/2 ounce steel weight. Don't care if I lose the weight, I do care if I lose the jig. Alright guys, let's give it a first cast. I'm just casting it out, letting it sink to the bottom, and then I'm going to slowly pull this rod tip up just until it pulls off the bottom a couple inches. I'm going to let it go back down to the bottom, and then I'm going to wait and try and feel some resistance on the other end. The squid, they don't really like fight much, especially for the size that I'm catching, but they do want to go the other way, that's for sure. So a bite is just a little tap going in the other direction, and then all I'm going to do is pretty much start reeling. Ooh, there's one. I felt like a bite. Oh, yeah, that's a squid. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him ink out in the water as best I can to try and keep the bucket as clean as possible. Then we'll pull him up. There we go. Now we got some water in the bucket. Whoa. Crazy squid. All right. Here is what we are after, guys. As you can see, he's red right now. And the nice thing about these squid jigs, look how easy that comes off. Just one-way barbs, that's all that it is. Here he is, guys, and they change colors too. So they change colors, so they'll go from this really dark, vibrant red, which is like they're kind of mad, to a white color as well. You can see how he swims too. They're really good swimmers. They can swim super fast through the water. That's not a bad size one too for what we've been catching. Most of them have been pretty small, like 3 to 4 inches. So that one's probably, I don't know, 5 to 6 inches or so. Not bad. And if hot pink doesn't start producing a little bit more, we'll swap up the colors. Sometimes it can take a minute to see what they want. The nice thing about fishing with a weight too, especially a lightweight, is that I know exactly when I'm touching the bottom. And you want that jig close to the bottom, because I've seen them, the squid at night, and they're like literally within a foot of water, just hugging the bottom, eating small bait fish and small crabs and everything else. So nice to stay close to the bottom, and this weight really helps. That felt like a bite. Oh, there's one. It's funny, it's a real subtle thing. They just slowly come around the jig and grab onto it. A little smaller one, but probably still edible. Just gonna let them ink out in the water. Come on, shoot it. Shoot the ink out. There he goes. Get as much ink out as we can. At least try to keep the dock clean and everything like that. So, second one into the bucket. Oh, I guess he didn't fully ink out in the water, but that's all right. We can always change the water in the bucket. That's super easy. Seems as though they like the pink color though. I definitely like the bigger squid because they're a little easier to clean. You get more off of them, obviously, but there's nothing wrong with the smaller squid. They're just as edible as the big ones. It's probably a little bit early for them, and that's probably why there's so many small ones in. But either way, they're still edible. Still use them as bait, everything else. So, ooh. Is that another one? Yeah, that feels. It's funny. They really don't fight. It's hard to describe. But you can see the rod tip probably there, and really not much fighting them. Oh, that one's actually pretty small. We're gonna let him go. That one's probably, geez, I don't know, the length of the jig, whatever that is. Swim free. There's one. Oh, they're definitely turning on. The sun's just about setting right now. Except another small one. Super small, actually. Oh, that's all right though. Give him another chance. Give him a chance to get bigger. See how he swam away? I hope you guys could see that. Maybe not, but they are really good swimmers. They just shoot through the water like a torpedo or like a jet. There's one. Ooh, this feels like it might be a little better. Yeah, that'll be big enough to keep. See how this one's like straight white almost? Now he's kind of turning actually, but ooh. But yeah, they vary in color, and they can change color rapidly. It's actually pretty cool. So as this jig is down there, what it's doing is the weight's sitting on the bottom, and this jig is sitting horizontally in the water column, being jigged across like this. And every time I lift up on it, it slowly falls down. And that's when they grab onto it and pull away, and then I pull back, and the rest is calamari, I guess. Oh, there's one. That feels like a good one. Yeah, that's perfect. Let him ink out. Throw the ink, do it. There he is, guys. This one's bright red. Oh, you can see the beak there. See the beak in the center? I've been pinched by them before, and those things are gnarly. Nice one. That's a good start, but I got a couple people to feed here, so we're gonna try and get some more as the sun goes down. I'm not sure how much more I'll be able to film, but if I can, I will. If not, I guess I'll see you guys in the morning. It is now the next day, and we ended up doing pretty good last night. We actually caught about 20 squid or so, which isn't really that bad. A lot of them were pretty small actually, but it is still a little bit early in the season. Here are our bag of squid that we got last night. Probably about a half gallon squid, and we are gonna get to cleaning them right now. Okay, we had to come inside because it was just too stinking hot out there. Got all our squid here, cutting board, thing with a little bit of ice in it to keep them cold. And that's for the remnants. We got the tentacles down here, and then I consider this like the main body of the squid up here. So what I start by doing is I start by cutting right below the eyes, just straight across like that. And then that leaves us with the tentacles here. But inside the tentacles is a little bit of a thing that's called a beak. So you gotta press down like this, and then that'll pop it out. And what you're left with is the beak, which is like a little hard eating tool for the squid, their mouth essentially, and then also the tentacles. And this is clean meat, ready to eat. Some people like to scrape off the tentacles, but you really don't need to. The suction cups, they just add a little bit of crunch when you cook them up. So then after that, what I do is I take the whole body of the squid, and with these bigger ones, it works quite well. Just put your finger down inside of them to release their insides from their quill, and then just pull straight out, and that usually gets most of the stuff. As you can see, pretty much the whole length of the squid is guts. So got most of the guts out. Didn't blow up the ink sac if he had any left, which it does look like he did. That right there, that mylar looking thing, if you pop that, you're gonna be covered in black ink. So he didn't get all of his ink out in the water, but luckily we didn't blow it up here in the kitchen. So I'll discard this for bait. And what we're left with is the main body of the squid, and the quill is still inside. The next step is to grab the top here, and I just pull this, like, the skin back. It's the stuff that changes color on the squid. And then just pull down, and then pop it off like that. And all that stuff, it's the wings. Those are really good as bait. The skin of the squid, you could call it, right there. Discard that for bait. What you're left with here, some nice clean squid meat. Next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pinch on that quill and rip it down a little bit until it frees itself up, and then I'm just going to pull it out. And for those of you that don't know, that's like the backbone of the squid, or whatever you want to call it, I guess. It's kind of like a piece of plastic almost. And now we're ready to turn this guy into some squid rings. So all I do is I just cut straight across. Another way that I clean them, especially these small ones, because you can't do the squid rings as easily with them, is the same thing. Cut off the bottom there, pop out the beak, save the tentacles, and just pull down, get rid of all the wings and the skin there. And then next up, what I'll do is I'll find the quill side, which is this side, turn it over, and then I'll make a cut straight down it like that, just barely enough to go through the skin. You don't want to go too far because you'll open the ink sac, like I just hit it a little bit there. The goal is to not hit that at all. Next up, all I do is I just grab the head of the squid near the eyes, and then I just start pulling off of the sheet of the squid, and pretty much everything comes with it. Pop this quill out. There you have it, a clean sheet of squid. Whew, okay, we got all of our clean squid here. As you can see, all done. Got the bait down there. So what I want to make with these squids is pretty much just like a pasta dish, and I don't really know if there's a technical term for it. I guess it's going to be like a calamari scampi kind of a thing. But anyways, I got some pasta going right now. And now what we got to do is we got to clean up those squids, get them sliced into some strips. All that I'm going to do is just add some garlic, some scampi sauce, and last but not least, all the squid. Well, not only was that dish super easy and quick to make, but it also tasted delicious too. Hit the subscribe button to see more videos from me in the future. There's gonna be a lot more to come. I will see you in the next one.